Good afternoon, grinders.
Morning.
Welcome to Crunch Time. I believe that's what it says on the thumbnail. I'm Jordan Cooper, joined by Dave Potts. Cheese is good. Got to give you an extra long good just to wake you up. Yeah, it's late for me. I'm normally on at 11 a.m., but it's early for you on Labor Day. Why are we working on Labor Day, Dave?
Yeah, just, laboring through it. This is one of those cool times when it is technically afternoon for you and technically morning for me. So it's not even me just being unnecessarily lazy. It actually still is the morning here. But hey, it's pretty good slate. 7 games is kind of a fun size. There's not too much nonsense. There's actually good baseball players on this slate.
Well, there's not too much nonsense. We don't even have an Orioles lineup.
I mean, nonsense as far as players that are terrible at baseball. But yes, we've got a few more minutes before I start worrying that they're just going to decide, oh, we're not playing today.
Right. There are no weather concerns.
Right.
For the slate, for the 7-gamer, right?
Correct.
Okay. And we actually have all the lineups in other than the Orioles, who are playing in 34 minutes.
Yeah, they're one of the first games. It's kind of a bummer. And they do have at least 2 guys that are, officially day-to-day. So you can't even really say this is probably the lineup. Yeah, I don't know. Whenever this comes out, I'll probably have to make some changes, but we'll figure it out.
As usual with me, give me those thummy thumbs. Hit the thumbs up button, hit it up, hit it down, hit it all side to side. Subscribe to the channel. If you're new, hit the notification bell to know when we go live here on YouTube. There's NFL content once this starts NFL week, starting tomorrow. There's be everything NFL all the time. We got tons of shows. So subscribe to the channel. Sign up for RotoGrinders Premium. Got a lot of premium stuff. $10 off your first month by clicking on the link in the description. We are in the YouTube chat answering your questions. Normally for Crunch Time, this is a premium show. So we'd be in the premium MLB Crunch Time chat. But since it's open to the public, feel free to join us on YouTube. But we have a good amount of pitching on this slate. I think we have we've got a lot of high end options and is there any cheap nonsense? Are we most likely playing at least 2 pitchers over 7,800?
Yeah, like the gap between tiers is obvious and tremendous. You basically got 5 aces, depending how you want to say aces. You could say, I kind of said 3 aces and 2 basically aces, but there's 5 good pitchers and then there's nothing. I do have a little bit of cheap nonsense on DraftKings and a couple lineups just because, salary is what it is. There's going to be a couple builds you're going to want to try that you got to do something goofy. But like the gap between the top 5 and everybody else is as big as you'll really ever see. So as much as possible, yeah, you want those top guys.
Now on this slate, when it comes to salary is concerned, there's enough cheap value bats that if you wanted to play Wheeler Woodruff, like that's perfectly fine. Like is Scooble necessary? Or the bat has him as like one of the highest point per dollar projections. We have all these pitchers project in the 18 to 20 range. Do you think it's worth it? Skubal doesn't seem like the type of pitcher. Yes, for the Tigers, he's the ace. I mean, he's like the best of not a very good pitching staff, but he has strikeout upside. He's in Pittsburgh, Pitchers Park, against the bad Pirates lineup. But when I see he's 43% owned, that's Skubal also could give up 3 home runs. He could strike out 8 while giving up 3 home runs, even to the Pirates. So is it worth, do you think, at least in like cash games type of formats, that you save the extra, $1,200 to $2,000 with him rather than just get like Wheeler, Woodruff, Gray, and take like 2 of the 3 of them?
I think there's still just enough like really expensive bats that in a cash game, I think you just play Skubal. Because then you can get like Soto and Sal Perez as, kind of, you could say they're unnecessary spends, and they are, but the difference between Skubal and, the Sale, Woodruff, Wheeler, Gray, it's just not that big. So to me, just take that savings in cash games. But you certainly don't need it. Like you can build a lineup with like Wheeler and Sale or Wheeler and Woodruff, the most expensive pitchers, and it's not that hard to do. But like you said, with the projections and the way I see it, like there's really not much gap at all in what you expect out of Skubal compared to those other guys. I mean, 2 or 3 points. I'm happy with him.
The ace that projects lower than all of them, that is also going to be the lowest owned, is Chris Sale. Is that more due to the fact of, like, if you compare the matchups, like Skubal against Pittsburgh, Wheeler against Milwaukee, that's a fairly high strikeout matchup. Gray against the horrible Cubs, like Sale against the Rays in Fenway is, hitter's ballpark, good hitting Tampa Bay team that is not as high of a strikeout team as they were earlier in the season. Is it also due to the fact that we're not even sure if the Red Sox push Sale? Like, is he going to pitch over 100 pitches the rest of this year?
I mean, realistically, he'll go between like 90 and 100. But this is the game. Any of these games, if they play Tampa or the Yankees or Toronto, those are the games where if he's rolling, they'll probably let him go 100. Like, I don't think if they have the option to stop him at 85 pitches, they will, but this isn't the kind of game where they're going to do that. So yes, I think he can throw 100.
But I think for GPPs, he's going to be the lowest out of all these.
Yeah. And I don't really think he should be. I mean, there's just no difference. Like, these are all the same great pitcher. To me, I mean, I think Sale is just simply better than Sonny Gray. I mean, yeah, the matchup is of course better for Gray, but I'll take Chris Sale over Sonny Gray, regardless of any matchup.
So outside of these pitchers, now it kind of drops off. It doesn't necessarily drop off. You get serviceable pitchers in bad matchups. Like I'm talking about like a Jameson Taillon or a Hyun-Jin Ryu that, do you really want to play? Do you want to play against the Blue Jays bats or the Yankees bats with a pitcher that probably, you're not going to pay $8K for these guys in those matchups when we already have pitchers that are 7,800, 9,000, 9,600 and that projects so much better. But outside of that, like, I mean, what cheap, not Bryce Wilson against the Tigers? What cheap nonsense are you looking at if you really wanted to go down at pitching?
For me, it's Bryce Wilson.
So it is Bryce Wilson.
Yeah. I don't know if you were serious or not. It is Bryce Wilson.
Well, I mean, I'm just looking. I just went down looking at the matchups. I mean, you have Corbin against the Mets, and Corbin has looked horrible. But like Steele against the Reds, it's more of a fact of I'm not even looking at the pitcher. I'm just looking at like the team that they're facing. Right. So it's like Bubic against the Orioles. So once you see the Tigers, I go, okay, what's wrong with the Tigers?
So yeah, that for me it's Wilson, and then kind of Chris Bubic against the Orioles. And I have, I have 150 lineups. I have like 2 Justin Steeles. So he's actually not a terrible pitcher. But really, Bryce Wilson is the only guy I kind of like, and like is very much in quotations. He's been up and down, and it's not like he's great, but he's been pretty good at times. He was, if you look way back to the olden days when he was a pretty good prospect, he's supposed to be good. And like, 2 of his last 4 starts, whoop-de-doo sample size, he's actually looked very legit. He's not a terrible nonsense pitcher. Like, he's a guy with some talent. And in this matchup, he's the cheap guy I'm playing.
The Pirates always seem to have like these pitchers that should be good, and we always know if they actually end up being good when they are no longer on the Pirates.
Right. Yeah. 3 years from now, he'll end up in Houston. He'll be amazing.
Right. Mitch Keller's going to win the Cy Young 4 years from now, for some other team.
That is absolutely true.
Okay. So now going on to bats, to quickly go through talking about cash game constructions, position by position for both sides. Obviously for FanDuel, you're probably not playing a Bryce Wilson. You're probably not playing, you don't need a cheap pitcher. You're probably playing one of Gray, Wheeler, any of the ace pitchers, but you don't see that big of a difference between them.
No, basically zero.
So whichever one fits on FanDuel.
Yes.
Okay. So bats wise, if you want to quickly go maybe position by position on kind of the staple pieces of your cash game type of lineup on both sites.
So regardless of position and the fact that he's a catcher on DraftKings, like Sal Perez is a top play. You don't just have to spend $6,000 on a catcher ever. But this is the day I think you should. And that's part of why I say I think you do just play Scooball on DraftKings, so you can play Sal Perez. He's just.
Well, I mean, even if we just look at the projections, the projection difference between Perez and the next highest catcher is 3 full points.
Yeah, like it's even bigger than the gap in pitchers. Like he's just simply better than everyone else there. So I do think you want to play him. And like when you start choosing between spend ups, like I love Juan Soto today, but if I can only get one 6K guy, I would play Perez. So that the gap of the position is just too big. And even on FanDuel, I think you want to play him as your first baseman. I'm playing like a ton of Perez and Alonso. One at catcher first, one at the utility.
Well, it seems here based on your core plays tag in Lineup HQ, which is part of our RotoGrinders premium membership. So feel free to click on that link in the description. Get $10 off your first month. It seems like the game that you're targeting the most is this the Nationals Mets game. And
yeah, there's sort of.
I said before the show, I said Javi Baez chalk sounds like something that I don't know, 30% zero. That if I was in GPP, that would be something that I would not be playing.
Yeah. As far as like just the most likely to see home runs on both sides, it's this game. It's Alonso first, then it's Soto second, then it's Baez, then it's Josh Bell. Like this is just a wonderful game to go home run hunting as well as stacking.
And how about to fill out the rest of your lineup? We have looking at our ownership percentages. I mean, the Orioles lineup still isn't in. We still.
Yeah,
like,
I'm starting to get a little concerned here.
But I mean, but we have some Orioles against Bubik. We have Akil Baddoo against Wilson. I'm just looking at our projected ownership. If you need a cheap outfielder, like Taylor Motter is leading off for the Red Sox against Yarborough, and he's 2,100 on DraftKings. Like, is there anything at like that level, like the salary saver value? Because I mean, Ramon Urias at 3,200. Like, I'm not thrilled about playing Ramon. That's not even that cheap for Ramon.
He's one of the guys they're waiting to see. Like, he's the guy we don't know if is in the lineup. Him and Mountcastle, I think, is why we're waiting on this lineup.
Okay,
so
the lineup just came in.
Okay.
No Urias. We have Mullins, Mountcastle, Hayes, Santander, Mateo batting 5th. McKenna, Jones, Gutierrez wins. Well, talk about a bad bottom of the when Mateo is batting 5th.
So basically, from our projected, like if you were running stuff with our projections, the swap is instead of Urias, Ryan McKenna is in the lineup. And then looks like Kelvin Gutierrez is in.
Right.
Who else is out? Oh, Trey Mancini's out.
Right. No Mancini.
Okay. All right. I got to do some stuff here. I'll keep talking to you.
Right.
That's Trey Mancini. I did like a good bit.
But Urias was primarily being owned because of his positional eligibility, not necessarily because.
Yeah, this is not a guy like he was not the primary value on this slate. Like I like the Royals values better. I do like Austin Hayes as a value. I like the Kevin Pillar, 2,800. Yeah, like other than that, he fit in Oriole stacks. Like not having Urias is not a big deal at all.
Right. Because if we just look at the bottom, so I'm just sorting by point per dollar for the Bat X projections. We get a lot of that. Anthony Alford batting 6th against Skubal. Taylor Motter, Michael Taylor, Hunter Dozier, Kevin Smith batting 9th against Tyon for the Blue Jays. Tellez. Maybe you don't play Tellez against Wheeler. Jace Peterson. I mean, Milwaukee's pretty. That stack is pretty cheap. I mean, even Olivares. Yeah, Olivares batting cleanup against the Royals. To me, are they're going to be popular. Carlos Santana's only 3,000. I mean, they're popular primarily because of price. So, like in GPPs, if you're playing a 5-man Royal stack with like 2 stud pitchers, I either be more inclined to have the other 3 batters be like off the board, or instead of play Chris Sale in that lineup, because it's primarily it's going to be a double stud type of pitching lineup on DraftKings. So play the lower one, play Woodruff Sale, and don't play Skubal or Wheeler. Like my attitude actually in those Royals lineups would be to have the 3 batters outside of the 5-man stack be a 3-man stack against one of the chalk pitchers. And I think the weakest pitcher out of that bunch is Skubal. So having 3 Pirates in your line. But I mean, I'm talking about just complete tournament strategy.
Right. And just on those lines, the Pirates are kind of interesting anyway, not just because they're low owned, because people are playing Skubal. Like he will give up home runs even if he's pitching well, like you said. So I think you can play a couple of those righty Pittsburgh guys, even not just for the purpose of being different.
Right. I mean, Brian Reynolds is the most expensive batter. You have Brian Hayes leading off at third base. You also get a good mix of positions. Third base, shortstop, outfield, first base, catcher in the first, 5 spots in the order. Very easy to fill in with, a 5-man stack of whatever team, because they'll fill most of these positions. If you need a catcher, you got a catcher. If you need a shortstop, you got a shortstop. In your non-Skubal lineups. We have Skubal at 43% owned. I'm not sure if he's going to be that owned, but I mean, he'll be up there, 35 plus, right?
Yeah, I think it'll get pretty well split between. I agree, Sale will be the lowest, but it'll be pretty well split between Skubal, Gray, Wheeler, and Woodruff.
J10 has a question about Skubal earlier in the YouTube chat. Do you think Skubal is going to be limited at all? Since September with the younger arms usually hints to that.
So to some extent, he's been limited all season, but also kind of not really. Like he's still getting, 95 pitches most of the time. And I don't see any reason to think he won't probably still get they'll probably pinch hit for him, at 5 or 6 innings and 80 to 90 pitches rather than it's not like he's going to go 100, but I don't think he's really any more limited than he's been all year, which is plenty.
And also it's 7,800. It's not like he's 9,500. Yeah. He's the cheapest range pitcher that's going to be in kind of like that good projected range.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, basically, yeah, you assume he doesn't have a Wheeler type of pitch count ceiling, but he's been limited all year. I don't think he's getting limited anymore at this point.
What do you think about stacking the Brewers against Wheeler
then? It's okay. I mean, he has been giving up a lot of runs. Like you can't say that he hasn't, because he has.
He's gotten unlucky. I've seen some of those games. He's gotten pretty unlucky.
Yeah, the guy is still pitching just fantastically. And I mean, yes, you can stack the Brewers. It's not like Wheeler will throw shutouts even when he's pitching well. I mean, probably like a Yelich or an Escobar can hit a home run and things can go bad on him. but they're not in my first 50 lineups. I definitely have on this size slate, I'll have everybody in 150 lineups. But Wheeler's too good. I don't have any interest in them in a primary lineup.
Then let's go to the next leverage stack option. The Cubs. I'm using the term right, at least.
You are. I don't mind the Cubs.
So you don't? Okay, well, hold on. The Brewers are so much cheaper than the Cubs. I mean, the Cubs. How are the Cubs this? Why do I have to pay? Because Contreras is back and Wisdom is 4,700 still. Like, I think they're going to be the lowest owned out of these kind of like leveragey type of stacks. But you actually prefer the Cubs today than the Brewers?
That is correct.
You just think Sonny Gray is more
Sonny
likely
Gray
to get blown up.
Is worse than Zach Wheeler. And the Cubs, yeah, they're terrible, but they're also kind of 5 pretty good power hitters in a row. Like every one of those top 5 batters can hit 2 home runs in a game without blinking an eye. It's just a team that I don't mind at this point. In real life, yeah, whoop-de-doo on this team, but I really kind of like those top 5 batters.
But not the top 5 for the Brewers. You know, Yelich, Escobar, Narvaez, Wong, Peterson, Urias, Tellez, Jackie Bradley. You think they're
the
Cubs?
Other than Yelich and Escobar, the Cubs batters are better for individual upside. And again, mostly it's that I like Wheeler better than I like Gray.
Okay, so it's more of a pitcher thing. So I'm just looking at price for the upside.
And I'm not looking at salary at all with those guys.
Right. Of course, that's the point. Really, I'm looking more at the value in the fact that I could probably stack the Brewers and play Gray plus Woodruff, and then still get a 3-man stack of like 3 Blue Jays if I want. I mean, like I could get good hitters in the rest of my lineup.
Yeah, again, I'm really just not. If I'm playing one of those teams, I'm not thinking about the salary. Like the fact that the Cubs are expensive really just makes it even better for the point of nobody's going to play them.
Right. Do you think that the Blue Jays and Yankees go under-owned?
Yes.
Because they're expensive? The pitchers in this game are not horrible. They're not great pitchers, but they're not pitchers you typically like, oh, I'm going to attack Ryu or attack Dion. They're playing in, 10-mile-an-hour winds blowing out at Yankee Stadium, 80-degree weather, 51% humidity, according to our starting lineups page. And if you stack either team, I mean, yes, I guess the Blue Jays have some cheap bats that you could get there. If you play Gardner on the Yankees, I'm just saying the more likely if you're 5-man stacking either of these two teams, you probably have to play it like a Bryce Wilson type of pitcher, and less people are going to do that.
Yeah. So part of why I don't like the Brewers and only barely like the Cubs is like the Blue Jays and the Yankees are just way better. Yeah, they're more expensive, but they're not any more owned. And these are just better teams. And it's not like these are, like you said, like the pitchers are good, but they're not great. So I would much rather play Blue Jays and Yankees just for the sake of doing something different. Yeah, I would say.
I mean, if we just look at the team totals, I mean, Yankees still have a 5+ team total, 4.38 for the Blue Jays. And that's still more than the Cubs at 3.6, the Brewers at 3.7, the Pirates at 3.9. So from a pure in a vacuum upside, you'd play the Blue Jays and the Yankees. The only difference that I'm weighing in why I highlighted the Pirates, the Cubs, and the Brewers is that obviously like Ryu and Tyon are not going to be owned. So like you're not getting the extra added bonus of your stack killing other lineups in the process of doing well. But if you told me that the Blue Jays or the Yankees were the top scoring team on the slate, like how could you ever be surprised at that?
Right. You couldn't. Yeah. So those are definitely, and I would throw the Red Sox are kind of in the same mix of just a really good team that will be more or less kind of overlooked because of the salary. So to me, that's your way to be different is play just fantastic teams instead of questionable teams.
And since you said you played a little bit of Justin Steele and you think he's not that bad of a pitcher, how about the Reds?
Yeah, so they're in there as well. I think the Reds will be more popular than the Blue Jays, Yankees, and Red Sox. And I've got them just behind that whole trio. I mean, yeah, by all means, play the Reds. There's nothing, I'm not like anti-Reds here. But I do absolutely prefer, especially the Blue Jays and the Yankees.
If you're in the YouTube chat, you could feel free to ask whatever questions you'd like. Players, stacks, exposures, even. I know that. Geez, did you fix your Mancini lineups?
I did. I still got a couple Ramon Urias hanging around. I'm just gonna put in whatever random. There's a Jorge Mateo. Hooray!
do you just regenerate lineups in lineup HQ?
Normally yes, but when it's just the one game and the two players, I'm not. I'm going lineup by lineup, which is why I'm not.
Okay, so you just do manual swaps.
Yeah,
I know some people,
and I don't have that much, or like the Orioles are not like my main team today, so I don't.
Are you swapping? Are you swapping to another blue? Like, there's some people that like don't break their stacks. So are you more likely to swap with another player from the team, and who cares about the rest of the salary left? Or you're more like, just I'm going to take Mancini and play the best projected first baseman in the spot, even if it leaves it as a 4-2-1-1 lineup, or some non 5-man stack or non 4-man stack.
No, I'm if I can get to Mountcastle, I'm just going to Mountcastle instead.
Right, you just need.
But if I have if it's not a full stack and I can play, I'll play Alonso or Josh Bell instead. But if it's a full stack, I'm just going to go Mountcastle instead of Mancini.
And then you just switch down on your pitcher or something and get the 400 in salary.
Yep.
Okay, from the YouTube chat, Cheese, who are some of your home run picks for today?
The three main players, Alonso, Perez, Soto.
I'm going to bring up the bat, standard projections. And what I'm going to do, this is what you could, if you have the bat, they have statistical projections. So you could go to the hitters and it'll account based on the projection and show you a breakdown of like how many projected points or percentage from each statistical category. So if I sort by home run, we'll see here, the bat has Sal Perez as 0.39, Gallo at 0.37, Vlad at 0.35, Springer at 0.34, guys that aren't on the slate here, Stanton 0.30, Renfroe 0.30, Teoscar,
and just let me stop you there and say, just reading that sure does go right back to what you were saying. Blue Jays and Yankees. Why are we not playing Blue Jays and Yankees?
Right. Just from a home run upside perspective. Then we start getting the Mets. Like, the Royals are going to be popular because they're cheap. But outside of Perez, like the stack value, the stack upside is much more limited. I mean, because it's the Royals versus, getting a little dicey at one of your pitcher spots. If Bryce Wilson or Justin Steele or one of those guys could put up a serviceable game of 15 points, right. If those expensive stacks put up 12 runs today, like, you win. And if the Royals put up 5 runs, you got the Chalk Perez home run, and you got like maybe one other player has like 12 points, and that's about it. So I think that's the point that you're making with the Blue Jays and the Yankees.
Exactly. We are on the same page there.
Dave S., how much do you weight recent performance, i.e. Pillar with the Mets? Or the Mets in general?
Yeah, essentially 0. Like, it's not like, if I like the team already, which I do, then it's great that they're playing well. But if the recent performances have been bad, I don't particularly care. I'm still playing them if I like the matchup.
Ryan Henderson, do you prefer Dozier or Michael Taylor as a salary saver in cash?
I would lean Taylor.
Dan Janning, how about playing Bubik and Wilson together?
It's pretty tough to even need that much salary. Like, if you really find a way that you just need that salary for some reason, sure. But that's a pretty far stretch.
From my analysis, my data analysis, as well as Slate IQ, two cheap pitcher builds are typically the worst long-term types of builds to make. Typically, it's up and down at pitcher, and then expensive and cheap at batter. So I'm just saying. A lot of times people are like, oh, I'll play the two cheap pitchers. Like, in order for that to win, like all of those aces need to fail.
Yeah. The way I do that,
that's the condition. It's more of the fact of if there was only one ace and everything else was kind of garbage, like, okay, I could see that. But when you're basically saying that you need both of those pitchers to outscore Wheeler, Woodruff, Gray, Sale, Schoolboy, all five of them in order to have the winning lineup, because the stacks that you're playing most likely are in lineups that someone has one of those five pitchers alongside Bubich or Wilson.
right. Yeah, that's the point I was going to make. When there's only one or two aces on a slate, then yes, because it's not asking that much for them to have down games. But when there's five of them, they're not all five going to have bad games.
Mike, Matt Andrzejewski, thought of pivoting to Yarborough off of Scoobel Chalk and large field DK GPPs, or is that overthinking it too much?
I don't like Yarborough. It's not really overthinking it. I just don't like Yarborough, and I would just rather play Bryce Wilson. I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to find a reason not to play Scooball, but I would rather just go down more.
And from a GPP strategy perspective, thinking in those terms of pivoting is you're not getting as much leverage as you think you are. Now I'm using the L word in the wrong term that Cheese hates. If you're playing the same, if you let's say you build a lineup with Scooball in it, and then you replace Yarborough. Well, all you're doing is competing against all the other lineups that have Scooball and you have Yarborough. Like you're not that dramatically different. It's a 1v1. Instead of thinking in terms of how do I find a way to pivot off of Scooball, think of how do I find a way to build a roster that doesn't need a $7,800 pitcher. Because then now you're getting to a much different construction. You're not playing Scooball, but you're also not playing possibly 3 or 4 bats that aren't in Scooball lineups. So you're more of a 3v3 or a 4v4, and you get so much more value out of that than just like, let me play the two chalk stacks and just change the 43% owned pitcher to the 2% owned pitcher.
That's well said, Mr. Blender. Yes.
Right, and I even used the L word in the wrong way.
I like it. Yes.
But everyone does. It's kind of one of those things. Okay, let's see. Let's going through. Greg Bean says he has the lefty Master McCann in his Met stack, because that's obviously a thing. Cheese and Cash, would Dozier be okay? Would you find the 400 to get Santana? Does it matter?
I'm fine with Dozier if you don't have the extra money. Yeah, don't stretch for it.
DK Cash, Renfro, Bell, or Soto, Hayes. I'm assuming you're gonna say 2.
Yeah, get Soto, Hayes.
DK Cash, Lindor, Oliveras, Motter, or Glaber, Bell, Taylor. I'm assuming 2.
You lost me. Say that one again.
Lindor, Oliveras, Motter, or Glaber Torres, Josh Bell, and Michael Taylor.
Yeah, second one.
Right. QQ, large field GPP on Fanduel. Crazy to go with Sale over less expensive aces. I don't think it's crazy.
No, and that's the point. And even more so on Fanduel, Sale will be the just bizarrely under-owned guy. Like, there's really just no gap between all these guys. And you have the money. So no, I do like Sale.
FanDuel Cash, Suarez, Pillar, or Lindor, Lane Thomas? Or neither.
Lindor, Thomas.
Big T has a question. Does
Big
Big Cheese miss his BFF?
He does. That is a true story. Hey, Big T. Actually, I'm going to text you later today.
Are you going to go play golf with him?
No, I was actually almost going to get to go see him last weekend. My daughter was in Kentucky for a horse riding championship.
Oh, so you go see him, but you don't see me?
Right, exactly. That's how that works. But my parents ended up coming out, and so I did not have time to drive up to see Big T. Next time, I will be there.
I consider Big T he's more like Cincinnati. I don't consider him Kentucky.
Right. Well, that's the point. I would have to go a little out of my way. Like he's not.
Where were the horses? Were we going to be in Lexington?
Right. I was in Lexington.
Right.
So
you passed by me, and you didn't say hi.
Where are you?
I'm in Louisville.
See, I didn't know that, but I did not pass by Louisville
Okay.
at all. It was you're
But
over
all,
there.
all I know is that if you were to
I
go
went
to Cincinnati, you have to pass
Chattanooga,
through Louisville.
Knoxville, Lexington.
Okay. Oh, you're going that way.
I
Okay,
legit had
now
no
I see.
idea at all that you were in Louisville.
Right. So you're going through Corbin, Kentucky. So you're not even going through Louisville. Okay. Now I don't feel that offended anymore.
Good. But I mean, honestly, I mean, if I had to either go see you or Big T with my extra 2 hours, I'm
Big T
sorry,
would be much
Blender.
better.
I'm going to see Big T.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. Seeing me is pointless. Like,
I don't know if it's pointless, but
no, but you might as well just do a Zoom. You're not going to do anything else. Right?
exactly.
Big T is exciting, going off and getting the giblets.
Giblets are good.
Okay, we're 1 minute to lock. Anything else that we didn't mention that you'll be doing in your lineups that maybe crazy or something? I mean, I love the way people sometimes look at your lineups, like your 150 set, and go, the Cheese won with the Tigers stack against Wilson, even though it's your one Tiger stack. Like when you're going to play one of every team regardless.
Yeah, at least a 7-game slate, you can fit something of everybody. If I have kind of the weird thing that I have kind of a lot of, it's probably Bryce Wilson. But even that, it's not a lot. I mean, he's still my 6th highest owned pitcher.
Right. But I'm just putting out the disclaimer of like when you're building 150 lineups as a serious professional profitable type of player. I mean, there's so much variance in the game that like diversification is worth an extra line. Like the more lineups that you play, the more that you don't want to protect your downside by like, yes, the Tiger stack is nowhere near the best lineup or anything like that. But if they happen to be the top scoring side, at least let me have one shot since I have 150 of them to spare versus putting another Blue Jays lineup.
Right.
But you'll still have a ton of Blue Jays and Yankees. Yes.
Probably compared to the field, probably Blue Jays would be my most leverageable. It's not, but I have more Blue Jays than the field. And probably more Bryce Wilson than the field. Those are probably the closest things to weird stands that I have.
Right. And me on a 7-game slate, I'm not playing. But like I said, I'd be more inclined to play the Pirates against Skubal, the Brewers against Wheeler, the Cubs against find a way to bust a 40+% owned pitcher. And especially in single entry, where they'll be even higher owned. And you're gonna be wrong 9 out of 10 times, but when you're right, you typically win first place. You don't need a high scoring. The whole concept of that is that like the team that you played, they don't have to put up 12 runs. They just have to put up enough runs. But of course, if the Blue Jays or Yankees put up 12 runs, it doesn't matter how much enough Pirates putting up 6 runs ain't gonna cut it regardless.
Yeah, I mean, really, the whole slate could be done after the first 2 innings of the Mets Nationals game, but maybe it won't. And then if they don't score runs today, then yeah, maybe some weird thing happens. I don't know.
Someone in chat says, don't forget to bring the paella. Is that something between you and Big T?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Well, maybe it should be. I don't know. Okay. And Big T, by the way, is going to be on premium shows with Chop this year for NFL Showdown. So if you want to see more Big T, sign up for RotoGrinders Premium, $10 off your first month by clicking on the link in the description. We're at lock. Our lineup's dead. Did the Orioles actually start the lineup that they said they were going to start? We'll see.
I hope so.
But to me, that I do not believe I'm on a baseball show for the rest of the season. So this is do you play until it's like the whole season's done for baseball?
Oh yeah. I'll play till the very bitter end of the regular season. Partly because I'm doing the content. Like I'm not going to write a 4-hour article and then not play. I'm up doing all this work. I'm going to play something with it.
Right. Me, since I don't have to do that, it's just like, okay, NFL time. I get Champions League soccer Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So I'm able MMA on Saturdays. I'm I'm expanding myself and just saying, baseball. Here's a middle finger. There you go.
That's fine. I understand. And September baseball does get a little wonky. And let me just say, I'm not sure that what you said about Big T and Chop is actually true. I think that was more somebody just hoping.
Really? I thought we're doing that.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not.
You're not privy to that?
We are. Okay. I was just making sure.
I know. I looked at the schedule. Did you look at the schedule?
No, I have not looked at the NFL schedule yet.
Okay, so that's why awesome. I know and you don't. Okay.
Well, that's glorious. No, I haven't looked at NFL at all yet. Yeah, the Big T and Chop Showdown shows were like the greatest thing. So that is wonderful that we're gonna have some
behind the paywall, though.
Well, that should be.
Well, of course. Yeah. Right. I'm the ones that aren't behind the paywall, the ones that I do. Right? Mondays and Thursdays, right? Those are the free ones. Excellent. Play whoever you want. What are we doing for the rest of the half an hour? Right.
Well, that is good. That counts as good news for me. I mean, I'm excited about football season just because the Browns are going to win the Super Bowl, but that'll give me a reason to watch Showdown shows. So good stuff.
Okay. Geez. We may not have a show together till next baseball season. Well, and it's probably a good thing for you. Probably you'd rather do shows with Big T.
I don't know if I'm on any NFL Showdown shows. You know what? I should be.
Yes, absolutely you should be. Yes, let's strike.
I will try to find a cameo on a football Showdown show.
Or football anything show. Are you on any of the football shows?
No. What am I going to say?
I don't know. What else can you say? I mean, you people know you for baseball, but actually football is your favorite sport.
Football is my favorite sport. Yeah.
Okay, so why aren't you on any football shows? Maybe that's what we should take a stand. We should hijack the YouTube channel until you're put on the schedule.
I mean, if the people demand it,
we're never getting off.
They would have no chance. Yeah.
Okay. Cheese is good. Dave Potts 2 on Twitter. This has been Crunch Time, I believe. I believe that's what it says on the thumbnail. Crunch Time. And Jordan Cooper at Blender HD on Twitter. We got Devin behind the scenes. My last baseball show, but I'll be NFL. It's gonna be Dave. Within 2 weeks, I'm going to be sick of the NFL. I'm going to be talking about NFL so much. It's going to be like I'll be playing baseball. Slate.
Every new sport, every time a new season starts, like, oh, here we go. This is my sport. Now I'm excited. And like 2 weeks later, everyone's like, when is it back? I'm done with this.
When does basketball start? Right.
Yeah, exactly. And then that'll last for 3 weeks. Everyone's like, I'm tired of this.
Right. Then December, it's like, I can't wait for baseball.
Yep.
That's the way it goes in DFS. So good luck in your contests. And I will see you tomorrow. Everyone tomorrow on YouTube, 11 a.m. Eastern for the DFS pregame show on RotoGrinders.com.